Arr, shivery timbers. Well, here you are. You're on with me on my boat. This is a Hunter Vision 32, and it's appropriately named Teacher's Pet 2. The reason for that is, of course, I'm a professor, a teacher, and my wife is a third grade teacher. So, you know, a little play with words. Teacher's pet, and our dinghy's called the Dunce Cap. So, this is where I spend my weekends. And it's not always fun and games. Thinking, wow, great, man, he's got a sailboat. I don't go sailing every weekend. And in fact, I'm probably lucky if I go sailing at least maybe once a month. I usually need crew. So if you're interested, you know, who knows. But for a boat such as mine that is now 33 years old, there is a lot of projects that sometimes you have to do. And of course, it's done in increments. And just recently I found out the water tank seems to have a nice little leak. And so this will have to be replaced. So this weekend, besides also conducting interviews, we're going to have a position open for a new history professor here at Daytona State College, and I'm on that committee to hopefully select the next lucky person that's going to teach here at Daytona State. And so we're doing that today, and I'm actually doing it from the boat. So how cool is that? We got actually great internet here. But also this weekend, because rain's in the forecast, it's not going to be any sailing or recreation. That's when I'm going to try to see if I could figure out how to fix that water tank. Chances are I'm going to have to replace it, pull it out, and it's a whole mess. It's a whole mess. And of course, this won't come without, you know, some injuries. Of course, as I always tell my grandson, if you're not bleeding, then it's not a real project. So if you want to know where I am this weekend, I'm like, why doesn't Professor Mercula never answer my email? I send it on the weekend. Well, you know, that's the whole thing of the 3-day business. So this is where I am. And just to show you a little bit around the inside of the boat, I'm in the salon area, sitting behind the table where we do all our eating. So let me just take the camera here and just kind of focus it around. And that is the starboard side. And on a boat, of course, you have starboard and port. And the reason being is that when you have to make commands, it's easier for the people to know which side of the boat you're talking about. This never changes. If you say right or left, people can get really confused. Right there that you see is the navigation table, and that navigation table is where I actually grade some papers and also discussions and everything else and help prepare for the class for the weekend. And as you can see, I even have a television, and that's hooked up Netflix and everything else, so I can have a good time. That door that you see there, that is where the head is, and you can see the wetsuit. My grandson goes surfing, and so that sometimes is needed. That is the companionway outside. As you can see how bright it is. The sun is coming up, even though there's forecast for the rain. That is my refrigeration unit, and it keeps everything nice and cold. And the door that you see opening up to there, that is where the captain's cabin is, and that is our sleeping quarters. And that little area is the galley. And as you can see, we got coffee. And I'm going to go and give me a nice fresh cup of coffee over here. And nice little coffee maker. And of course, when you start to go sailing, you have to put everything and store everything, or things will go flying. Because once it heals, it goes whoop, you know. And next thing you know, you got things breaking and crashing, and you know, sometimes beer, you don't use beer bottles. We found that out very quickly because you lose some of those soldiers. So that's what we do here. And it's a nice little alcohol stove. And that's where I cooked my breakfast today, having about an egg omelet. So as I'm coming back to where I was seated before, just give you an idea. And as we can see here, I'm right back. Of course, I've got to try to be cameraman and everything else. So it is a lot of fun. And one of the things you have to understand is BOAT is actually an acronym, and it stands for Break Out Another 1,000. And it is pretty true. It can be quite costly, especially if it's an older boat. You're going to have to probably replace everything. And if you heard that click on, well, we have the comforts at home, That is the air conditioning. So now you know where I spend my weekends and what I do on my weekends. And if you're ever interested in possibly sailing, contact me. We'll see if we can get you on, and always could use some crew members. Have a great weekend.